Lemon Amiga presents a Playguide video review. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi there, welcome to another Lemon Amiga Playguide and review. This time we'll be checking out Nebulus, developed by John M. Phillips and released by Houston Consultants in 1987. Nebulus was also known as Tower Toppler, and some releases were called Tower Toppler, including some Atari releases, and they were released in US by US Gold. You can see US Gold Tower Toppler. And taking a look at the Amiga version, it starts off with some jolly music, and we also get a hint of the controls with F1 to F2 to select 1 and 2 player, and we can also select a mission as well by pressing another F key. In Nebulus, we play as Pogo, and Pogo is a frog-like character. Unfortunately, he can't survive any contact with water. The aim is to progress up the top of the huge tower, and if you can climb up to the top of that tower, then you get to move on to the next one, and there are 8 towers in sequence which you have to get through in order to complete the game. And most players who tried to play this game found a very grueling learning experience, and the difficulty curve, as you can see, is on the hit or miss side. Thank you once again for viewing another Lemon Amiga Playguide and review, and if you want to see any more of this one, let's press that fire button again and let's see if we can get any further in this particular game of Nebulus, which I have to admit isn't my favourite game of all time. The aim whilst we are climbing this tower is to avoid all the traps and the enemies, and sometimes if you press the fire button while standing you can also fire a gun as well, but if we press the fire button whilst we are moving we'll make a jump. If we push up we can use elevators and pull down again to descend them, and some things can be shot and some of them can't. It's a very formulaic way to complete the level, and it's great to see basic physics as we fall down steps. But it's also a formula, and if you get that formula wrong in this game it can descend into heck, because we will drop in platforms, and if we drop platforms all the way down to the bottom of that level we'll make contact with that water and die. And so that's why we have a submarine. To make matters worse, certain elements will appear from the left and the right of the screen, and some sound effect will appear when they materialise. What you have to do is to avoid them by going into doors, and they will appear on our very same level, so if we move up or down a level, sometimes we can avoid those things simply by waiting around. Timing has to be learnt if you want to master this game, and even though the premise seems very easy on the surface, it's just a platformer. With all these things it can get sometimes difficult, and the average person trying to play this game will find difficulties even on level 1, particularly because some of the areas include traps which collapse, and as you can see, it's best to collapse that one and then you don't fall into the same area. But if you fall all the way down the screen, the other thing to watch out for is the time limit, which we can see in the very top centre of the screen, and that is always counting down. As long as we don't touch the water, we won't lose any lives at this stage, but we will lose time, and the longer we take to climb this level, the shorter bonus we're going to get, but also the harder it gets as well, because we don't have any time to spare for mistakes. Some fish, and the bonus means shooting them in a bubble and then collecting the bubble, and I think this gives us some bonus score and also some bonus time. You can see bonus time 26, 32, and maybe that's bonus time on the level. I'm not quite sure, but whatever that is, hopefully we can gain enough, maybe 60 seconds or so on the next level, and that also depends on how much you've managed to collect. The second of the 8 levels is difficult, and it doesn't get easier because if you're moving and you're pressing fire, sometimes you will jump and sometimes you won't do, and it's those willy-wonky tactics which sometimes ruin this game because the control method could have been better used with a diagonal controller and simply pull diagonally to jump. But sometimes judging those gaps is made harder because of that mechanic, and the slightly unresponsive controls is the main criticism that most people say about this game, because judging those gaps and trying to get things to perfection is made extra hard. You can also enter a name on the high score table, and by pressing an F key we can also change to the second mission, and there are 2 missions in the game, so you get to complete all 8 towers twice, meaning 16 missions in all. That means that this is practically mission 9, and if you wanted a harder challenge, it's the same tower again, only completely different, and this time you'll have to avoid those enemies, but a new challenge appears, so you can have twice as much fun with this game. The second world is very tricky, and of course I haven't managed to get anywhere with it, so what I'm going to do at the moment is I'm going to take it as read that I've completed the first tower, and let's see if we can get any further with the second one. This game was created by Englishman John M. Phillips, and his first game was Nutcracker on the C64 and the BBC Micro in 1984. His second game was Nebulus in 1987, which half the world known as Tower Toppler. Actually, John Romero completed an Apple IIe port of Tower Toppler, and that was cancelled around about 88-89. So that port did exist on the Apple. After that he moved on to lots of other games. He had with Speedball 2 on the Sega Mega Drive in 1991, Speedball 2000 in 2000, and also recent Cannon Fodder and Sensible Soccer in 2005. I think this game is for dedicated gamers who have lots of patience for things like this and can time things without rushing on ahead, and can look out at the side and listen out for that spiky thing appearing. And on some levels I think the aim is to drop down the tower, and that's pretty easy because all you have to do is touch lots of enemies and you will drop down to the bottom of the tower just like this. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the aim of this particular tower, and it's a love it or hate it game. If you love this game, you'll find it identical on virtually all of the ports. And the Commodore 64 port, which I played, is identical, and so this is a basic formula, but it reminds us of the 8-bit days when game formats were pretty easy, and yet games were still challenging just because of their pure playability. I always found this game difficult, and ripping my hair out was probably because I only have a bit of it left, and I didn't play too much of this game because I just found it frustrating. But that was not reflected in the magazine reviews, and the low score came from 880 Gamer, who gave this game 73% on the Amiga. The current Lemon score is 75%. The one gave this 88. The Games Machine gave this 89%. Commodore User gave the Amiga version 93%. Ace awarded this 95%. CMVG gave this game 96% on the Amiga, and Zap Magazine awarded this 97%, which means the average score for Nebulus is 9 out of 10. We were just about at the top of this tower, and getting to the top of this tower is as far as I've ever got with this game, and so this has been a trip down nostalgia lane, sometimes for all the wrong reasons. It's a great graphical effect that this tower spins around, but for my money I'd rather play something a bit more like Turk and Lotus, which gives me an instant thrill without too much frustration. And so this is my review of Nebulus for the 6,000 sub special. If you like this game, let me know. If you hate it, let me know why. And also look forward to a new series, hopefully, of Lemon Amiga Playguides and reviews. And yes, that was me right at the top of the tower. So this has been a subscription special, and I hope you enjoyed this one. And that brings us to the end of this review, and my time is up. And so thanks once again, and I hope to see you again in another Playguide sometime soon.